Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing a first look at the game Doodlebugs, the first week of Operation Eisbär, June 13th, 20th, 1944. This is a solitaire game, and it is from Legion War Games and designed by Steve Dixon, who has done many solitaire games, kind of in the same vein as the Gregory Smith type of narrative war game. So we're going to take a look at this guy real quick. Here's the back. Now there's not a whole lot on the back except for an ad for the for some of the other games. And these are Steve Dixon games, as I just mentioned. He's done a lot of air games and also picket duty. And I have most of these actually, but these are coming up, and I have this on pre-order, and I might have this on pre-order as well. Anyway, but we do have a cool look at the V1 here, which is, oh, actually, this is the V2 by late 1944. The V1 was joined by the V2 pictured, though it had far less impact than the famous Doodlebugs. All right. So obviously the V2 looks more like a rocket, and the V1, which is what we have here, looks more like an aircraft kind of thing, like a drone almost. Of course, it was not that. This was in the 40s, but it was a rocket, basically. It just had wings on it. So now we will take a look at the game. Just kind of step through. So here's our cover sheet. On the back, it's blank, but that's our cover sheet. Then we have here the map or the board map, however you want to term it. We'll put it here. We have one sheet of counters, right? And we'll look at those in a little bit more depth later. And then we have our manual, which is relatively short. It only goes 7 pages, so this is a fairly straightforward game. And let's take a quick look at the rules. So this is a solitaire game in which the player controls the British response to the V1 rocket launches of Flak Regiment 155 located along the coast of France across the Channel. The game covers the first week of Operation Eisbär, which began on June 13th, 1944. The game concludes after the last turn of the game is completed on June 20th, so it's a week. The actual campaign continued until March of 1945. The goal of the player, playing the British side, is to prevent the Germans from gaining a victory, which would bring a tremendous propaganda coup for Nazi Germany. The length of the game is 16 turns, each of 8 calendar dates, 6/11 to 6/20, comprised of a night turn and a day turn. Components, we kind of just saw it, right? Rule book, 1 sheet of counters, and an 11 by 25 and a half inch map. Does not come with a die, but needs a 6-sider, 1 6-sider, as well as 4 opaque containers to hold the 4 sets of chits. These are things most wargamers, if not all wargamers, already have and have in plentiful supply. Right? We got our counters here. They represent Allied fighters, V1s, and firefighters included in the game. You can see these guys here. This is the day fighter, a Tempest 5 of number 486 Squadron. Each aircraft counter represents 1 fighter. These counters only attack V1s during daylight. Then you have the night fighter, the Mosquito 13 of number 96 Squadron. They only attack during night turns. They have a moon on there to help you identify that as a night fighter. Then you have your V1 counters and your firefighter counters that attempt to put out the fires caused by exploding V1s in London. Each numbered sector in London has 2 of these units assigned to it, one of which is labeled Captain's Crew. The number on the counter is the assigned sector. Then you have fire markers, and you have a 2 fire that you can use to reduce clutter. Turn marker, aircraft loss markers times 1 in 10, and out of control fires times 1 in 10. 4 sets of chits that are drawn. The blue chits correspond to the numbered sector of London, ranging from 0 to 6 rather. 0 value if picked by the player means the V1 overshoots London and is removed from the map. Gray chits determine how many V1s are launched from one Abteilung. The player will pick 1 counter for each Abteilung. If a 0 is picked, no V1s are launched for that particular Abteilung. The yellows are the total number of V1s that failed to launch correctly. Then we have red chits that represent the number of V1s lost before hitting London. We have a map on the board that we'll see shortly with those sectors on it. Then you've got the 4 Abteilungen of the Flak Regiment 155, located in northern France across the Channel. It is from these areas that V1s are launched. And each one will have a track. And we'll see all this when we look at the board. We also have a time track, game setup. So we go through how to set the game up. It's pretty straightforward looking at it. A couple of firefighter counters with the captain's crew being on one of them in each numbered sector. Place all your V1s in the holding box. Place all fighter counters on the time track as reinforcements in the spaces designated. Reinforcements that arrived are placed on the aircraft holding box when the turn marker reaches each delineated space. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. You get out your 4 containers and you put your fire markers out, and then you go to the first turn and you start playing. Our sequence of play. So let's take a quick look here. Same for both night and day. Only difference is the fighters. And let's see. You check for reinforcements. Then you determine the number of V1s that launch with the gray chit. Then you determine the number of V1s that fail by pulling a yellow. And you pull those out and place them in the V1 holding box. Then you place in the available fighters. The V1s move to the water square. You can attack your V1s with fighters, move your surviving V1s to the coastal square, where you use AA to engage them, and you roll once for each V1. Then they move to the land square and engage with fighters, if any. More surviving V1s to the outskirts of London. Determine V1s lost through anti-aircraft and barrage balloons. Then you repeat steps 2 to 12 for each of the Abteilungen. Then determine which sectors the V1s hit, and you place them in the sector. Move firefighters, attempt to put out the fires. For each V1 that is not extinguished, replace it with a fire marker. Move firefighters so each sector of London has at least 1 firefighter counter. And then end of turn, and you repeat the procedures for each turn. Repeat until the end of 620. Okay. Then you have the details here, determining how many V1s are launched, placing your fighters, engaging in the water and zones, your anti-aircraft and coastal squares, your land squares, striking London, fighting the fires. V1s, whoops, sorry about that. Just realized I had moved it over. So just to kind of redo, we got determining the number of V1s, then placing our fighters, engaging in water and zones, coast and anti-aircraft, land squares, striking London, fighting fires, the V1s that get shot down before reaching London, and determining victory. Special rules for the first turn. Only 6 V1s are launched. Do not draw chits. 6 may launch from any Abteilung in any combination. This represents the number of V1s that were able to launch out of 10. 4 of the 10 crashed upon launch. There were supposed to be plenty more, but Allied air raids and technical difficulties prevented the large number of V1s that were intended to launch from doing so. I have some optional rules here, and then our design notes and sources, the books that were involved. Probably interesting reading, I would assume. And then our credits. All right, so in the interest of keeping this reasonably short, here are our counters. So you've got your markers here, right? You can see the grays, the reds, the lost. Then you have the fighters are over here. You've got some Spitfires, some Mustangs, some Tempests, some Thunderbolt, and even a Thunderbolt. And of course, the night fighter, the Mosquito. Firefighters, Fieseler, sorry. These are the V1 markers. So there's a bunch of those. Down here, we've got the firefighters, the captain's crew, and the regular firefighters, I guess. Then you've got your out of control fire marker, aircraft markers, the singles for the aircraft lost and out of control, the optional fire markers, the turn marker, Then we have more markers over here, a couple fires, the sector markers, and then our yellows, of course, and another fire. So these would be failures. You have failures and lost. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. They are single-siders, as you can see. So no flipping counters over. So now we'll take a look at the map. So I'll pause for a moment. Okay, here's our map. And you can see we've got our sequence of play, your out of control firebox, the firefighting table. So you're going to roll your six-sider and figure out what's going on based on the number of crews. Then you've got your gunnery table down here for any aircraft. Then your Abteilungs, as we saw, or Abteilungen, if you want to use the German, 4 of them. And up here you've got your fighter holding box with the areas of London marked out. So those are your 6 sectors. Then you have your aircraft loss track, your time track, your night and day cycles. Let's see what else. On this side, you've got your fighter gunnery table. So again, you're going to have a range, close, medium, or long, and you're going to roll your D6, and you'll get a variety of results that tend to be misses or destroyed. Then you have number of day fighters available and the number that can be placed on the water or on the water zone, before AA fire. All right. Oh, and if you're wondering where the water zone is, it's in here, right? You've got the France row, then you've got your water, then you got your AA coast, and then you got overland. And that's it. It seems like a fairly straightforward game. Interesting, probably, at least for me, in terms of something that's not really covered by a lot of games. But yeah, so I'm going to probably do this one sooner rather than later, only because it's a solitaire game. I know a lot of my viewers like solitaire games and want to see new solitaire games, and this obviously is a new solitaire game. So we're going to take a crack at it, probably, like I said, sooner rather than later. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Quick shout out to my channel members. I appreciate the support. For everyone else, as I said, thanks for watching. Hopefully you will come back and check out something else down the road. But while you're here, it'd be awesome if you'd consider liking, sharing, hyping, or possibly even becoming a subscriber. If you already are a subscriber, thank you very much for that. But we are done here for now. Until next time, I am Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And as always, happy gaming.